developing your ideal client avatar. Today on the Landlord Coach Daily Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, your host, and today it's another great day here at the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show, a show not only for rental housing providers, but small business owners and just plain people who enjoy being time wealthy. So that's what we're talking about. And again, just a shameless plug of the Time Wealthy Investor. The runaway hit on Amazon is the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0. If you'd like to get a free copy of that, you can head on over to landlordcoach.com/videos. Okay, shameless plug out of the way. All right, so today what we are talking about is developing your ideal client avatar. So what even is that? What is an ideal client avatar? Well, this is an important part of the if you've been following the show at all and you understand what the VIP method is all about, the vision infrastructure process method, if you understand what that's about, this is really helping to identify the process part of the business, right? So, or the infrastructure process part. That's the system part, right? So developing your client avatar. So why is this important? So first of all, what is an avatar? An avatar is really a representation of who your customer is going to be. Who is it that you're really trying to serve? If you're going to get really serious and dial it down and niche down in terms of who it is that you want to serve, what does that customer look like? Where do they shop? Where do they spend money? What do they look like? Are they married? Are they single? Do they have children? Who do they shop at Walmart or Target? Do they eat at Applebee's? When do they have free time? When are they working? These are really, really important distinctions as to why it's important to identify your ideal client avatar. Why is that? Well, because it's easier to have a conversation with somebody that you're already well identified. Let's say for argument's sake, and again, I know there's other people in other industries, other businesses that watch this show. So if you are, for example, let's say you operate a daycare, right? You're probably not going to have a whole lot of time during the day to watch videos about operating a daycare, right? That's not going to be helpful, right? If you were going to say coach daycare operators for example, or if you were trying to reach out daycare operators as your client avatar, you wouldn't really want to post videos let's say if I was posting videos at 7:00 in the morning, that would probably really be not a great time. I'm just spitballing here. It wouldn't be a great time to do that because lots of parents are dropping off their children at 7 and 8 o'clock, right? They're on their way to work. So if you had a video or something where you were wanting your ideal clients to watch it at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, you're not speaking directly to your avatar, right? Does that make sense? So, if you can really dial in terms of who it is you're trying to speak to directly, it really helps you with that conversation. I'll give you a quick example in my own case, right? And when I first launched Landlord Coach, I had identified 3 avatar that I really want to work with. So those 3 avatar were new investors, seasoned investors, and property managers. New investors, seasoned investors, and property managers. So new investors, and if you think about it, like on its face, it sounds like not a bad idea. I wrote the book, The Time Wealthy Investor, really for seasoned investors, for people who were time weary, who really didn't have the infrastructure processes put together to operate a rental business in a real meaningful way. It was just, all it did, it was create a bunch of jobs for themselves, right? So that's what I really wrote the book for, but it could apply easily to someone who was trying to get into the rental business, and it could definitely apply to someone who's in the property management side, right? Makes sense. The problem is they're 3 completely different avatar. I could not have one conversation that would suit all 3 avatar. It was really, really hard because in the beginning, some newbie investors, they are really, really new. Like they're going to say, what's a mortgage and why do you spell it with a T, right? Like they literally know nothing. And you're having to take them from not just from 1 to 2, you're taking them from 0 to 1. Like they literally know nothing. And, some people want to be spoon-fed, and some people are way more go-getters, and they're if you tell them where the information is, they'll go find it. and that and everything in between in terms of the new investor. The seasoned investors, they're a little bit trickier, right? Some of them think they've been down that road. They don't need coaching. This is just the way that the business needs to be, and they they don't need anybody teaching them how to do things. Well, that's really tough to explain to somebody who's been a landlord longer than I have why their life is maybe it could be a lot better than the way they have it right now. It's really, really tricky. And on the property management side, it's just another completely different conversation because they serve so many different people, not just the vendors and the residents, but they're also serving owners in terms of their customer base. So that's a problem that the individual landlords don't have at all. So it was really tough to have one conversation that suited all three avatar. So I really had to get real clear in terms of what I was and wanted to niche down and with people who generally already were in business of some sort. Now, it's really funny because when in the inner circle coaching, I work with people who don't have properties, and some people don't really have any interest in being properties because just I have a very broad business background and I can pull from a lot of different areas, from a lot of different tools and different toolboxes that I have. But it's interesting because generally trying to get people who don't have a business already and are already and maybe they have a business background, maybe they're managers or something like that. But then if they're really starting from ground zero, it's really tricky at times, right? If I'm not if I'm going to be honest. So getting them sometimes from 0 to 1, if they've been clients or they don't have any interest in real estate, or they really don't have any interest in entrepreneurship, that can be really, really tough, especially in terms of what I've been. I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing this entrepreneurial thing for so long. So people who don't have that bent, don't have that bug on entrepreneurship, it can be really tough, right? It'd be tough to coach them. That's who I serve, though. That's my client avatar, are entrepreneurs who are, generally they're married, generally they have kids, generally they're somewhere between 35 and 45, and that's who I target my message to. Why is that? Because I'm a member of that audience and I know what their pain points are. So it's, I heard, if you remember from the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss had mentioned that, it's good to be a member of your target audience so you know what language they speak, right? I'm thinking here of the pumpkin plan, about identifying your client avatar and having that specific conversation in terms of how to nurture the top clients that you most want to work with, right? And the pumpkin plan, if you remember that, if you haven't read that book, it's a fantastic book, but it's really more about focusing your attention on just one thing, growing that one massive pumpkin, getting that pumpkin growing really, really well, and getting it operating and, in terms of a business, getting that one business operating really, really well, putting all of your resources into that one pumpkin, that one business, that one thing that's going to make you the most money and is going to give you the most output. So that's really the crux of it. And if you're focusing on one avatar, the conversations are much, much easier. Now, I hear you already, but coach, I can serve, so many different people. I get it. Here's the thing. All I'm telling you is that this is just a target. Just because you are aiming at the target and the bullseye is your ideal avatar, it doesn't mean that someone, if you shoot the arrow and you hit the 8 ring, the 9 ring, or the 10 ring, that you're not going to take them as a customer. I'm just saying it helps if you can have that conversation directly to your avatar. Mine are named Jim and Sarah. If I can speak directly to your Jim and Sarah and say, hey, Jim and Sarah, right? Does your life suck? Are you stuck in your operation of your business? Are you stuck in your life and you're not happy with your life output? Let's have a conversation. That makes it super, super easy for me to bond with them because I've been stuck. I've been in their shoes. My bride and I are raising a 13 and 15, well, soon to be 13 teenagers. 2 teenage boys will be in our house very, very soon. One's 15, one's 12, and he's getting ready to turn 13 very, very soon. So we know what that's like. We know what it's like trying to run from one baseball game to karate practice and back to baseball, and we know what that hustle is like right now. We know how busy our lives are. But it's really, really cool because we have lots of people that are supporting us. We have, not just the way that I have my business set up, where I'm able to make many of the games, not every single game, but most of the games I'm able to make, right? It's because of the way that we're set up our life, and our life output is the goal that we're looking for, right? That's the life output, the whole point of being in business in the first place. So this is really why. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It does take some some real intention to sit down and identify who it is you most want to work with. Now, let me say this. In the rental business, you have to be a little bit careful about who you're marketing to after you get the properties, okay? So I'm talking specifically, you might be thinking, well, how do you identify an avatar if it's against fair housing to say, well, I only want to work with this type of clientele, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you're going to be buying properties, let's say for argument's sake that you really don't have any interest in, you cannot relate to millennials, just to say for an example, then it probably doesn't make sense for you to rent 1-bedroom apartments if that's a clientele that you don't really want to work with or don't understand. However, if your client avatar are families and families with children, then it would probably make sense for you to buy houses in desirable school districts that are 3 or 4 bedrooms that have fenced yards. Probably makes sense, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So specifically, I'm talking about in terms of building the infrastructure, right? You're building the infrastructure, and part of that infrastructure that you're going to build is the asset class selection, meaning what type of property, what type of property you're going to buy. That's what I'm talking about. You identify that avatar up front, and then you buy the properties that you most want to serve. That's what I'm talking about. Now, in your advertising, you have to be very vanilla. You cannot and you should not, in terms of race, gender, I'll let you go through all the federally protected classes, and you may have locally protected classes in addition to that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about specifically, who is your avatar? And again, if anybody who comes, if they are qualified, then you rent to them. I don't even want to have a conversation about anything else. If they're not qualified, that's one thing. But you have those qualifications already written down in advance, and then if they come to you and they are qualified, you rent to them. I don't, whether they happen to be, single, with children, not children, whatever. I don't care. Just as long as they are qualified, and that's why you want to make sure that stuff is written down in advance. So that is all I have for today. I'm going to give a quick plug to the Landlord VIP Lounge. If you are interested in conversations just like this, and in a community that is of similar entrepreneurs, and there's gym owners in there, there's other people in there who aren't necessarily landlords, but other small business owners that you're trying to get out of the hustle, or maybe trying to avoid the hustle in the beginning. That way you don't have to even worry about this stuff. Developing your avatar and your marketing and your sales funnels, and making sure your operations run smoothly, your accounting, all the stuff related to the VIP method. That's all the stuff that we're going to be talking about in the Landlord VIP Lounge, and the link I'll make sure is posted below, or you can just search it, either way. But also, if you are, again, interested in getting a copy of the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0, you can go over to landlordcoach.com/videos and get your free copy. All I ask is that you pay shipping. So that is all I have for today, folks. And as always, please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day. I'll see you guys next time.